All right, so given the choice of anyone in the world,
Should I introduce myself?
you can, sure.
Elizabeth Heller Messick. June 16th, 1980.
That's her birthday.
Not the current date.
No.
The current date is May 21st, 2015.
There you go. Given the choice of anyone in the world, whom would you want as a dinner guest? So this can be anyone living or dead.
Lately, I've been wanting to meet this scientist called Erin Schumann, who is right now a director at Max Planck, but was in California for a long time. She does like protein work, and she's kind of a female badass molecular biologist who I've admired for 6 or 7 years.
Cool.
So that's the answer lately.
Excellent. And you just want to have dinner with her?
Yeah, because I want to ask her. She discovered something about protein translation at synapses that people didn't think was true, and she's a woman, and so she like proved it despite being a female in a field that's largely male, and used like new tools to do it. And I kind of, if I could have like my dream profession, that I would do that.
Yeah, that's very similar to sort of things you
Hope
aspire to. Yep. Cool. Would you like to be famous? In what way?
I feel like the first answer relates to the second one. Yes, definitely. Always. Forever. Always wanted to be famous. So hopefully I'll be a famous scientist.
Cool. That's pretty self-explanatory. Before making a phone call, do you ever rehearse what you're going to say? Why?
I always say hello a few times just to make sure my voice is working. So then I make the call and then I go, hello, hello, and I hope that they don't pick up in the middle of the practice
so not
hellos.
until it's actually ringing.
When it's ringing.
Pitch is, like,
when it's
coming
ringing,
down.
yeah, as it's ringing, I'm going, hello, hello.
Like, oh wait, I didn't check my voice. Okay.
Yeah, I check my voice.
I'm actually saying hello, right? Okay.
I practice real conversations probably more than even phone conversations, but I often practice them just like walking down the street, talking.
Okay.
So.
Find it useful?
So I think I like to have the fight that I think I'm gonna have before I have it, because it's like it satisfies some fight, some argument that I really want to have this fight and I want to say these things, so I like say them anyway, and because usually you don't have the I don't know.
Yes.
We really don't have the fight ultimately.
Yeah. So like your
the person is more accommodating than I anticipate. Them
so maybe
being.
any
Maybe
concern.
your desire to like tear into
I
them
wanna
is less
tear
once
into
you
them.
actually see them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's true.
Cool. What would constitute a perfect day for you?
Perfect day. I got enough sleep. I'm not tired. I wake up not tired. And I wake up having not woken up since the night before. So those are big features.
Sleep through the night.
I have slept through the night. And that's not because of having a baby. That's because of having insomnia. So I've slept through the night. I'm not tired. I have a smoothie for breakfast. Green juice smoothie, which is awesome. I work out, which is awesome. And I, throughout all of this, am with Elias and Adriel, just woven in throughout the rest of the day. And they're also not tired. Nobody's tired on this perfect day. So now we've exercised, we've slept, we've eaten something really healthy.
Juice, yes.
So then after that, it's like anything could happen, really. Maybe we go downtown, walk around. Adriel has had like concocted some plan for seeing either art or architecture. The weather's good. And then there's like a lunch break with something delicious. And also ice cream after that.
Nice.
And then...
You haven't had ice cream in a while, huh?
I haven't had ice cream in a very long time. It features prominently in my
perfect day visions.
my perfect day vision. And then an outdoor activity. Maybe like a park or beach where a nap happens during the outdoorness. Yeah.
Cool.
That would be kind of it. We would just sort of be together, not tired. That would be perfect.
I heard him, but he's being
And
quiet.
I guess I was picturing New York when I was saying that. So
Yeah, of course.
I guess New York is a perfect
But you said downtown, I think.
I did say downtown.
So that was
yeah.
I like what you said about once we'd got all that stuff out of the way, then it could be anything pretty much. When did you last sing to yourself, to someone else?
I sang to Elias probably not long ago, earlier today, I would imagine. Elias, my son,
Elias
6 months
Heller-Mesnick?
old. Elias Harvey Mesnick.
Can we also hear that answer for a grown-up person singing to a grown-up?
Yeah, good call. So you sang to your son, but when was the last time you sang to an adult?
To Adriel,
Yeah.
not recently, but I sing to him.
You sing, yeah. You're a singer.
Should I sing what I sang to Elias lately?
Sure.
I'll sing the first verse.
Yeah.
Great.
I sing, operator, can you help me place this call? The number on the MacBook is old and faded. Here he comes.
Hey, get him in that
The
scene.
guy who has been sung to.
Hello.
Hi, buddy.
Both of them.
Hey.
Here he is.
Elias, man.
Can I give him to you?
Yeah.
Can he be in the show?
Yeah, of course he can be in the
He'll be in
show.
the show.
That's okay. Don't worry about it. That's good. I was kind of hoping that he would that something like this might happen.
There's something in my eyes. You know it
Oh yeah, it's your first time seeing this guy in
I
person.
saw him like kind of.
Oh no, that's right. You saw him. That's right.
But he was like.
That's right.
He was much less
Asleep.
full form.
Asleep,
And
yeah.
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 Are you going back to sleep?
Hey, buddy.
No.
Your lunch is on the counter.
Thanks.
Watch your head.
Faces. Ding. It's like all of the faces
I
are
need
in
to
his
say
face.
a bit of
Yep.
It's
noise.
impossible.
I've done it twice.
Hey, Elias.
Yeah.
What's up,
So
man?
I sing to Elias.
Yes.
I
Cool.
don't sing to myself so much. But
No?
I sing to. I talk to myself a lot, but not
Yeah.
necessarily.
You don't just like if you're like
I don't
listening to a
sing
song,
in-
you don't
Oh,
sing along with it.
I do. And you know, I for a long time would sing along to my headphones at work,
Yeah.
just belting out, you know, whomever, Mariah Carey,
Yeah.
Beyonce,
Yeah.
Aretha, just at the bench.
That's all good stuff. Cool. What a good boy.
Happy because he got some rest. See? Perfect day.
If you were able to live to the age of 90 and retain either the mind or body of a 30-year-old for the last 60 years of your life, which would you choose?
Live to 90, so from 30 to 90,
30 to 90.
I had either the mind or body of a 30-year-old.
Yeah.
So,
And no cheating. You can't say both or like one is the other.
no. I mean, it's
Can
weird.
I ask a clarifying question?
Sure, yeah.
Are we taking the conventional statistical kind of crapshoot with the other one, or is the other one certain to break down
Right,
in a
exactly,
reasonably bad
that's the
scenario?
question.
Right. I sort of think that I guess I would say that the spirit of the question implies that
You're kind of
you're
the other
saying
one's going
one
to
or the
kind of
other.
not go
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
Got it.
Or at least what's your feeling about that? Like what,
Got it.
you know,
I
would you be
think-
willing to sacrifice one for the other?
I think it is. I would choose the body
Yeah.
because I think it's actually more. So you know, let's talk about like Parkinson's versus Alzheimer's, and it's a
Yes.
weird way to parse it. But if your mind is good, but you can't move around,
Yeah.
you're trapped.
Yeah.
And if your body is good and your mind isn't good, you don't really know, but at least you can get around by yourself. And my
Yeah.
grandparents are deteriorating physically, but they're mentally sound.
Yeah.
And it's much worse than older people in my family who had the opposite. So I choose body.
Cool. Yeah, I go back and forth on that one.
It's a hard one.
It's like, yeah. Ben was talking about how like you can often become a burden to others, and I was like, yeah, well, that I definitely don't want to be. So I don't know.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
physically too. If you can't physically move around.
Yeah, it's true. Do you have a secret hunch about how you will die? So far, I'm the only one who has said yes to this one.
Oops. Hopefully Daddy will take care of us
Oh.
momentarily.
I'll get you something. Go ahead. You just answer the question. Secret hunch.
I do not have a secret hunch, but I have a lot of paranoid fears. Yes. I often think I'm going to die like in something really horrible and freakish.
Yeah, but not more
But
distinct
it's not
than that.
more specific than that. And it's
Yeah.
not when I'm old. It's always that I'm going to die tragically.
Yeah.
It's not really a hunch. It's more like a paranoia.
Yeah.
Are you making
You're
friends with
incredible.
James? Are you making friends with our friend James? And in a minute, he can hold you once we're certain about him.
For what in your life do you feel most grateful?
Actually, it's Dad. It's his dad, Adriel. But Elias is coming up, coming close.
Yeah, it's a
He's
sort
kind
of
of
a-
second place secured.
They're
But,
linked.
they're
really.
linked. They are
closely
linked.
associated.
Indeed.
I definitely feel like, yeah, I kind of don't even like to think about what happens to me if Adriel and I didn't get married.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank God for Adriel.
If you could change anything about the way you were raised, what would it be?
I wish my parents were around more. I was like a latchkey kid.
Yeah, they both worked a lot.
They worked a lot, and I was lonely. I
Yeah.
was really lonely, and I think that loneliness like persisted. And I could handle it. I was so like high functioning as a kid
Yes.
that I could do all that stuff for myself, and so they thought I
Yeah,
was
you were.
fine.
It's true, you were.
But I was lonely, so that's what I wish. I wish they and I wish they liked each other a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough, yeah. If you could wake up tomorrow having gained one quality or ability, what would it be?
More energy. I envy these people that, like Muriel, who's with us this weekend, is one of these people that really can. I don't know. She just seems to have a lot of energy, and I feel like I just wish I had more energy. Then I could do. It's like the energy would let me get all the other qualities that I wish I had.
Yes.
Almost like that's first. Then I could be better read and have a better memory and all this other stuff that I feel like is linked to being exhausted.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. If a crystal ball could tell you the truth about yourself, your life, the future, or anything else, what would you want to know?
I would want to. Oh gosh, that's so hard. I was going to say that I would want to know that Adriel and Elias were going to be fine.
Yeah.
That I could just like know that, and then.
Yeah.
So that's what I was going to say, but I feel like that's kind of a weird one because it's like knowing that something isn't going to happen.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably what
It's
comes
the
to
truth
mind.
says, the truth about yourself, your life, the future. That's,
Yeah.
Yep. I just said, what's the meaning of existence, but that's that's fine too.
Is that all?
Is there something that you've dreamt of doing for a long time? Why haven't you done it? Oh.
Well,
that was your answer, right, Elias?
that was it.
He's like, I've been dreaming of spitting this up for a long
I dreamt
time.
of.
Why haven't I done it? I'm just gonna do it.
You're right. There's no moment like that.
I think I need to come back to this because this year I accomplished the most things I've ever accomplished in my life, and so this year I did a lot of big stuff. So I'm like,
you're allowed to say no. You're allowed to say right now. Right now, that's not how I'm feeling. Yeah, good. Yeah, you had a huge year. What is the greatest accomplishment of your life?
So, professional accomplishment is I just got a tenure faculty at UPenn.
Yay!
And then I also had my first child.
Yay! Again, linked to the previous question.
Exactly.
Now that I know where this is, that doesn't mean.
What do you value most in a friendship?
There's honesty is definitely up there, but it's a certain kind of honesty. I don't need to know everything. I need to know that you, as my friend, really care about me. I think that's what I value most. That I know that I'm important, and that the friendship is important. If I know that, then I can weather almost everything else. But I have to feel like the friendship is a priority.
So this is
Yes.
Now we're in the valley.
You're both not tracking.
We're trying.
That's what you
It's the sand. It's a valley. The sand.
on all three sides. The line is really bad.
Yeah, Santa Monica Mountains, Los Angeles
Thanks,
Mountains.
I don't mind if I
know.
do things.
So north is the
Of
valley,
course.
east is.
Test it out.
Oh no, sorry. I was doing the valleys lines.
What is your most
LA 's just
treasured
another line.
memory?
Just Santa Monica, maybe. And
Well,
then
if you get
I
west
mean,
of the
my
mountains
wedding
that
day
are
is
ringing
actually.
LA, you're still in LA.
I think I was
Yes,
very
so
fortunate
LA
and
basically,
blessed
here's
that I
the
had
line.
one of these wedding
and here's the
stories
bay
and
of Los Angeles, and it
rooms
curls like this.
that
And LA's all
it
here.
was like a
and then
fantasy. It was
peters
just a
into
total
like-
fantasy
not
about the
that
generosity
either.
from my family
they
to
kind of
get
do
just
like
the
that, but
party
it's
that
not
I
like a hard
wanted and I
line.
ever
This is
had.
like a line about
That's
And
just
is there a
the
line
love
on
of
the
family and
south
friends
side
was
of
just
LA?
out of this
peters
world,
into
and I
beachfront
never
communities
quite
and
expected
orange
to really have my wedding day be my most happy memory because I always figured something would go terribly wrong
Yes.
and it wouldn't fulfill the fantasy. But it did. It was just it's like my most happy memory.
Yeah.
Really my wedding day, and that's after having him, which was my most mind-blowingly joyful moment imaginable.
Oh, how could that have been? Yes.
But it was still that day was
Yeah.
a good day. My wedding.
Can I be a real jerk and ask you guys to not talk over
Sorry,
this?
yeah.
No,
it's
we
fine.
started.
It's fine. It's fine.
Fine.
What is your most terrible memory?
So I have this. I mean, I'm gonna choose one.
Yep. Hey,
This is the one I will
yeah,
share.
sure. Whatever comes up to mind.
I have this terrible memory of my parents having this fight when I was probably 4 or 5. They fought all the time, but this fight devolved into my mother throwing things at my father across the kitchen. And I remember running. I was in my back of the house, listening hysterically. He started crying while they were fighting, and then the throwing started. And then I was actually terrified. And maybe I wanted to intervene. I don't know, but I remember running out into the living room, hysterical, backing my body up to the front door, almost like escaping, and then them starting to fight about how I was reacting to their fighting.
Whoa.
That's a bad memory. That's
Wow.
a very, very bad memory. Very, very sad and terrible.
So Ava was not even born.
Ava was not even born.
Yeah. Ugh. Okay. Yeah. I can see why.
Yeah.
If you knew that in 1 year you would die suddenly, would you change anything about the way you are now living? Why?
When I first heard that question, what immediately came to mind was like, yes, I would stop working so I could spend all my time with Elias and Adriel and everybody else that I love.
Yeah.
But then I thought, no, I wouldn't stop working because I love my work, and I think it would be too intense if I was just focused on the fact that I was going to die. So I would do a little bit of work, a lot of spending time with my family and friends, and I would travel. I think I'd want to see a few places and go spend money to get to some beautiful places. But yeah, I would definitely change a lot. I'm about to move. I wouldn't move.
Yeah. You wouldn't move.
I wouldn't move. I wouldn't take the job at Penn if I was gonna. I'm not starting for
I mean,
6 months. So logistically.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah,
I mean, of
I
course.
would definitely back off.
Of course, that makes sense.
I would back off. And I probably, honestly, wouldn't exercise as much. I know that's weird because I love it, but if I was going to die anyway, I probably would, go for a run or lift some weights when it, felt in my body. That was important to me, but it wouldn't be a top priority the way it is now.
Huh, okay.
Because I would just kind of,
Oh.
not want to spend that time. This is a very honest video.
Yeah.
Because this is what this boy does.
That's the truth.
I must have eaten some whey and didn't know it.
That's okay. That's the point of this, is
That's
to
the
just...
point. To
Oh,
show.
buddy, it's okay. It's
You don't
okay.
want to eat eaten? It's sharp. It's covered in puke.
Oh, well. Those things are cleanable.
Yes,
Thankfully.
we'll rinse it off.
No, it's beautiful. I was hoping something like this might happen. Okay, so this is very similar to another one, but what does friendship mean to you? And the way in which I think this is different is maybe for some people friendship is not that important. For other people it is.
Super important. I feel like my friends are part of how I get to be the person that I want to be, because I see how my behavior is reflected in their reaction to me or how something I'm doing plays for them. I also seek their advice constantly or ask them how they've handled a certain situation that I find myself in, and I just don't even know who I would be without your input or Daria's input or everyone who's here at the house with us. It's just, I don't know, they're trusted advisors almost to my life decisions.
Yeah.
And then emotionally, critical. Since having the baby and being a working mom, having a husband and a family, it's very overwhelming. And being able to call a friend at a moment of just total and utter loss and despair. And I remember when I was writing the KO1 grant, 8 months pregnant, writing this enormous grant, losing it, and I called James, losing it, just completely losing it, and he talked me down, and I submitted it. I don't even know how. I don't know what my life would be without that. That's how I live my life. Is in those moments.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. What roles do love and affection play in your life?
Huge.
Yeah.
Sorry, is there more to the question? I didn't mean to.
No, that's it. Yeah.
Huge. We have to do a lot of loving and affectionating in our house all the time.
Yes.
I think there's another question here that's are you close with your family?
Yeah.
It's related because I'm very close, and my sister and I are hugely affectionate with each other. My mother, so it's in my family there's a lot of affection. My own family and my family with Elias and Adriel.
So there's
Lately I've been getting annoyed because we have to see our parents all the time now that we have the child. These are now the grandparents, and there's so much hugging and kissing upon arriving and departing that I'm actually kind of enough with the hugging and kissing. I see you entirely too often to be kissing you and hugging you, and you're only here for an hour, so now within an hour I've kissed and hugged you 5 times.
He's got a little more under there.
That's what I have to say.
I hear you, but those things are so so they do. They play a huge daily role.
Yes.
Huge daily role, and you consider them to be very important.
Very enormously important.
Yep.
Yeah.
How close and warm is your family? Do you feel your childhood was happier than most other people's?
My family is incredibly close and warm. My mother's family, my mother's side especially. we're just like all up in there, piled on top of each other. You know, it's just you're the most. I don't know what anybody else's childhood was like.
Oops.
But I was very loved and given a lot of opportunities and affection. But I was, like I said, I was a bit lonely.
Yeah.
So I think there was, and my parents had a very terrible marriage. So I think there are people that were probably happier because their parents were happier, and so they felt happier. And then there are most people, I say, happier than most on the planet by yes.
Yes.
I mean, I'm in the,
Right. I mean, it's like, yeah, it's hard to.
99.99 percentile of people's lives.
Yeah.
You know, just
Yeah.
in terms of poverty, etc. Amongst our set, I think that some of our friends had parents that genuinely loved each other.
Yeah.
That makes any child happy.
Yeah.
So maybe if there was one thing that was lacking, then that was it.
How do you feel about your relationship with your mother?
It's very complex right at this moment because becoming a mother
Yeah.
throws that whole relationship out of whack and it has to be reformulated.
Interesting.
But we're so close, my mother and I, that we are reformulated. And I love her. I mean, she's like in my body, the way like Elias is in my body.
Right.
Like we're just.
But it is. But
Sorry,
it has.
but
this,
it's complex.
It has this complicated.
It's complex. My
aspect
mom
to
is
it.
also single, and you know, since my parents divorced, whatever, 15 years ago, she didn't get married, so she's a little bit lonely.
Let me borrow that, buddy.
And
I just don't want you to put it in your mouth if it's been on the floor. Here, you can have it back. Here, buddy. It's okay.
so we're very, very close, but like any good mother-daughter relationship, it's complex.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel that she's invasive or intrusive into my life, or my trying to have my own family now. And I don't know, everyone's getting so old. She too is like getting like batty, like slightly batty, which I have to be increasingly patient with.
That's so tricky.
Well, now you have to wait a few. Here, play with this in the meantime.
Yeah.
And then we'll get you something.
Oh, that one's gonna hit the ground too. I know
That's
it.
what we do. We're learning about gravity.
Grabbing
We're
and
learning
how
about
things work.
gravity and,
Physics.
and the physics. How many more? Uncle James.
We're doing good. That was number 21.
Cool.
Complete this sentence. I wish I had someone with whom I could share.
I think I'm very blessed. Nothing immediately comes to mind. I have a lot of friends with different things to share with.
Yes. There's nothing like in specific that like. My answer to this was chess.
Okay.
Like
Right.
I love playing chess, and I don't really have like any close friends that I do that with. So I was just like, oh, that's something that I kind of like. I really don't feel like that's a major lack in my life. I'm
No,
just
no,
like,
but
oh,
there's like something.
yeah,
I don't know.
not really.
Not really.
Okay, cool. When did you last cry in front of another person by yourself?
Last cried. I actually have not cried today, but that's you know,
You're like, well, not
circumstantial.
today. But...
Circumstantial, but definitely like last night. I mean,
Yeah.
I cry a lot. It's a major outlet for my emotions. So I cry by myself, less often because I'm fortunate to have a husband
Yep.
who loves me and tolerates all the crying. A couple of work cries here and there. Those
happens.
sometimes by myself,
Yeah,
but mostly with Adrian.
happens.
My
But you're,
sister.
yeah. Yep. You're comfortable
Yeah.
expressing those
I
emotions.
have to. If I don't cry, then
Yeah.
it's a problem. Then it builds up and I become a little dysfunctional. And actually I'll notice, I haven't cried in like 3 or 4
time.
days and I'm feeling so tense and like tight.
Yeah.
I should cry and then I'll feel a little better or go for a run, one or the other.
What, if anything, is too serious to be joked about?
I don't like when people joke about rape of fictional or non-fictional characters. I just can't get there. It's just too terrifying for me. So yeah.
Yep. We were saying last night. I was saying last night. I think everything you should be able to joke about everything. I just don't think you should joke about stuff that's like gonna be hurtful to someone that Like, it's like someone who was just raped. You don't joke about.
Right. Well, exactly. Yeah.
And of course, that's different for men and women.
Yes.
If you were to die this evening with no opportunity to communicate with anyone, what would you most regret not having told someone? Why haven't you told them yet?
That's such a sad question.
I know.
My dad is coming to mind. Because I don't know. There's nothing that's been eating at me. I'm waiting to tell this person something. You know, sometimes I'm in a phase of life where that's the case.
Sure.
But
It's like,
right now I'm pretty clear with people.
Yeah.
But my dad is coming to mind, so maybe there's something there about some feelings about my childhood.
Yeah.
Some things that I would like maybe reassurance on from him about how things were, and I never have had that conversation quite, even though I think I have some anger, and I have some anger at him about where he was and what he was doing and why he wasn't with me instead, and it's unresolved.
Yeah.
So rather than tell him, I think maybe just like get some. I would have never gotten resolution on that.
I mean, it says communicate with no opportunity. Sorry, no, it says regret not having told someone.
Yeah,
but
there's not like a. Sometimes in life there is a secret or something that I haven't told.
You feel like it's just not time for that? Is there a reason that you haven't brought that up with him?
I've tried to bring it up with him, and he's a little bit dismissive. I think that he probably feels a bit guilty, and because even this thing about being alone, latchkey kid.
Yeah.
I remember once I said that to him. I said, "You weren't alone. You weren't alone. You would have a play date. You would be at Katie Siegel's house or Julia's house." Well, yeah, but my parents weren't there. You know, he really didn't get it.
Oh, playing with Mama's face, huh?
Hey, 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 hey,
Is Mama getting you?
It's a funny.
Is Mama getting you? Is Mama getting you?
Oh, no, I don't want to do it.
Oh. We're close, buddy. Okay.
You tell your answer.
Your house containing everything you own catches fire. After saving your loved ones and pets, you have time to safely make a final dash to save any one item. What would it be and why?
Wedding album! No, that's a silly one because they're all digitized, so not the wedding album. The wedding box. Because that has like the cards and all that stuff. Elias hasn't made any artwork yet, so I don't have any of that stuff. And everything else,
got it all backed up.
I have a couple of notebooks from college that I would save. One from this theory of consciousness class that I took actually while I was abroad. Where we read all this like high level Edelman and Danone, and I like outlined everything that we read. So I tried to snag that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Of all the people you're close with, whose death would you find most disturbing and why?
Adriel's death would be disturbing because he is my husband and the father of my child.
Well, what about this guy?
Yeah, this is something I ponder a lot, but Adriel is still first on the list.
That makes sense. You don't know who this guy is yet.
I don't know who he is yet, and it's not just that. It's that I could survive Elias's death if I had Adriel to get me through it.
Yeah.
I don't know that I could survive Adriel's death without. Elias can't support me through that, and I would have other people to support me through that, but I would not want to raise Elias without Adriel. I mean, the question doesn't pit them against each other, certainly, but I think sometimes as a mom, you sort of do these gross.
I hear you. This sounds like very similar stuff to what. My mother told me about, my upbringing and how things shifted like that for her as well.
It's interesting. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's interesting.
What's interesting now is, like, whenever I see her, as soon as she greets me, the first thing she says to me is, like, here's my favorite person in the world. And it's like, now that my dad is gone, now that, like, me as the connection to him is just insanely important to her.
Yeah. You're the link.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right, so that's all of them. I want to ask you, there's one other thing, which I've sort of I'm thinking about adding this on.
Okay.
If it was revealed, and I just want to hear your thoughts about it. You don't have to answer if you don't want to. If it was revealed to you that all life on Earth would be wiped out precisely 30 days after you die, whenever that may be, would this knowledge change your overall motivation in life? How and why?
I imagine that it would, right? How could it not? God, I guess it would take some of my anxiety away. I mean, I don't have to worry about Elias and my grandchildren, and they're going to get wiped. Well, I mean, because the question is not suffering, right? That's an important consideration. Wiped out with no suffering.
No suffering.
There's no suffering.
No, it's just like everything would be gone.
They're wiped out, they all go to heaven, as far as I'm concerned. I'm including that in my interpretation.
Sounds fine,
then I don't have to recycle. I don't have to
True.
save the planet.
Would you still do the sort of work you do?
I would still do the work I do.
Yeah.
It's like interesting. I feel like my work is kind of in between being self-serving and selfless, which is kind of convenient for this question.
I
You know,
agree.
if I was doing something that was really to make a lot of money for inheritance for my children, grandchildren, maybe then I would rethink that, because who cares? But I'm not in that kind of biz,
Yeah.
and I'm not doing work that I feel like, I don't know, it's still going to be on the record of humanity in
Yes,
a way,
yeah.
so yeah, I think I would still do it. Gosh, that's all carrots and breast milk on
Yum.
TV.
Okay.
Yay, we did it! Thanks, Uncle James. You feel so